This is round 3 of a tournament that we had at FAB Foundry in Portland, Oregon. Up top is Kellen playing his Deathspeaker deck, and I'm at the bottom of the screen playing a Druid deck. And we're going to get started here. The Druid deck that I'm playing is... these are both decks that have been featured in videos on this channel before. Kellen played this deck all the way to the top 8 at the Unland Cup earlier this year, and there are some videos of that gameplay. I'll go ahead and throw those up on the screen up top. I've playtested Kellen with this deck a lot this year. This has been something that he's been working on throughout the year here, so I'm pretty familiar with it. He's playing a Valley of Delight to start and calling water and passing turn. I'm going to draw a sight for turn, tapping for a color out of space, summoning Tawny, and then playing a Dream Quest turn 1 on to Tawny. So passing turn from there. It is very likely that the Dream Quest goes off on turn 1 here. It is very difficult for an opponent to interact with the spellcaster asleep on your home site when no land bridge has been established and you're working with 1, maybe 2 mana. It's a little difficult to see those hollow sleeves that Kellen is using, but he played a windmill for turn and passes. So beginning of my turn, Dream Quest will trigger. And I'm going to get to look through my deck and choose a card. And I'm just clarifying with Kellen kind of the ordering on turn start phase, in terms of like, does that trigger first and then you draw a card for turn? And I believe it does, and that's how we play it. So the card that I chose the Dream Quest for was Sir Yvain. And Yvain has many targets to bond with in this deck. This is a Druid Beast deck. It's running all of the pigs and boars from Arthurian Legends, as well as the efficiency beasts, the Lugbog cats and the unicorns. It looks like I do have a Lugbog cat in my starting hand here, and I've now drawn into one of the boars, which I would prefer to get the boar on a flip, but it's okay. Playing Troll Bridge into the center of the grid, moving Tawny forward and passing turn. Kellen starting his turn, tapping for a third sight. He's going to get a Pebbled Path down. Pebbled Path in this matchup slightly relevant, just because I am running those Grendel Boars. And then he's opting to use a Magic Missile just to remove Tawny, deal 2 points of damage to me, to put some pressure on, and then passing turn. Playing a Valley. Playing a Valley, I call Earth as the element. So I'm now sitting at 2 Earth Threshold, 2 Water Threshold, 3 for the Lugbog Cat, and resummoning Tawny onto the Valley that was played this turn, passing. The fact that Kellen hasn't played any minions out yet means, to me, means that he hasn't been able to draw them in onto his curve. 4th site is a step. Playing a Violamp, pinging Tawny, and passing turn back to me. Drawing a spell for turn. So again, because he hasn't drawn too many minions yet, he doesn't have a lot of fodder for his Deathspeaker ability yet. The Violamps can be a problem, just because they likely come out, they ping for 2, they do some work, and then when they go into the cemetery, he gets another ping off of them again. Playing my own Pebble Path over to the left there, resummoning Tawny. And then I have the Lugbog Cat available for a move or an attack. And I'm pretty sure I just attempt to attack in. Yeah. And then block. The only reason I was thinking about that was just because, again, it's always a bummer to send a Violamp to the cemetery when you're playing against Deathspeaker, just because you don't want to give him the ability to recast for 2 points of damage. But it is an inevitability, and you are going to have to do that at some point, and you're going to have to do those things that you don't want to do in the game. So there it goes, recast with the Deathspeaker ability to remove Tawny, and again, he doesn't have a play on that turn other than that, so he's going to pass. I drew a site for this turn, and looks like I drew into a pond. Choosing to attack with the Lugbog first for 4 points. Then tapping for the pond. And then using the pond discount to play a Wyvern. So 5 power, airborne, recasting Tawny onto that site as well. Puts a lot of pressure onto Kellen for next turn here. Being able to start swinging in for 5 with something is always a threatening move on your opponent's next turn. And right now I have a combined total of 10 power on the board that he has to deal with. He plays out a Gnome Hollow, the defensive site. It is a little difficult to play around Gnome Hollow for this deck. Not impossible. I do have some lower curve minions, and I do have a couple damage spells that I can get out if I have to. For a long time, though, in my deck building career with Sorcery, Gnome Hollow was a difficulty for me. I would constantly forget to add enough win conditions with Gnome Hollow in mind, especially when we were only playing with Alpha Beta. And when we were only playing Alpha Beta, Gnome Hollow was so prevalent that it required a response to that. Kellen trying to play an Earthquake, but then forgetting that the creatures currently sit on a pond and would not burrow as a result, which he's not entirely thrilled with. He's a little unhappy about that one. Playing a Harpy to kill Tawny again. Tawny just getting beat up this game, and then passing turn. And now that I know that he has an Earthquake still in his hand, I can play around that a little bit to my advantage. I had already spaced out my minions just in anticipation of some of those effects, when you play a lot of these decks long enough, especially these control type decks, you know that you have to really like space out, prevent yourself from getting like 2-for-1, 3-for-1 from an Earthquake or a Poison Nova or some other area of effect. So starting a move back here, attacking 4 with the Lugbog. Looking at my options. Opting to move in with the Wyvern to attack. And then paying for a blink to blink the Wyvern back onto a water site in the center of the board to again prevent the Earthquake. Now that's not a move that I think I would have done if I didn't know that he had an Earthquake in his hand. But since that information was accidentally revealed previous turn, you know, like I played with that knowledge. Kellen starting his turn again. Looks like he drew for a sight. Sitting at what, 5 mana right now. Got 1 of each threshold at this point. Predominantly earth thresholds. He's gonna attempt to get the Earthquake in just to remove the Lugbog. Just because he knows that I can play around it at that point, and I think he just wanted to get something off of the board here, even if he couldn't get the Wyvern. He didn't want to wait another turn and have another turn of the Lugbog and the Wyvern swinging in, just because the scores now are 18 and 12. He's passing turn back to me. I've got a lot of options in my hand. I've got a lot of scary things that I can play out here. And at this point in time, I think that I'm in a pretty good position to just outpace him based on what I've seen him play out so far. So I play a Surya Vein, bond it to the Wyvern to give them an additional 2 power each. The Wyvern attacks in for 7 points of damage, which takes him down to 5. And again, I can feel a little more confident doing that onto the land site because he has just spent the Earthquake to take out the Lugbog. I walk forward with the Druid and pass. And again, I'm thinking of endgame at this point now. I want to get up closer to the Deathspeaker and flip towards the end of the game here to prevent him from being able to move while he's on death's door. Ideally, maybe getting that flip in and maybe getting the death's door before he can retreat into Gnome Hollow. It's like the site he played is a Geistwood, and a Geistwood can be very beneficial for him, but I think that it's just a little too late at this point in the game based on how this game has developed for him. He tried to play a Black Plague there a minute ago, but then realized he didn't actually have the thresholds for it necessary. Requires two air. So at this point, there's no getting around it for him. He is going to door. And now I'm just taking the opportunity, I played a Rift Valley there to mostly to move the Gnome Hollow further away from him, and then jam him in between there with a lot of minions to corner him in. And then passing turn over. Kellen's in a pretty bad spot. It would take a lot for him to be able to rock back from this position here. I think he's consulting his hand. He's trying to see if he has a way out of there. He drew a sight. I don't know what he was trying to fish for, but I think he's gonna play it through to the end here. He played the desert to ping the squeakers. Forced the card flip off of the deck here. We didn't see Pigs of the Sounder to summon as a result. So those 5 cards will be randomly shuffled and placed onto the bottom of the deck. Kellen is playing Sir Morin onto his home site with his avatar, which will generate 2 tokens that he can use as blockers and additionally screen projectiles entering into that site. So a pretty good piece to have on the board for him here, and kind of I guess one of the better outcomes that he could have right now, given the board state. And choosing the lightning bolt, the Druid, for 3 points of damage before passing turn. So looking at the board now, I mean, he's got at least 2 attacks coming in. He can block for 3, but I have a rolling boulder, and I think I just top decked that rolling boulder that I get to push. I get to push it in. And he's just asking whether or not it's a projectile or not, and that's the beauty of rolling boulder in the game. It doesn't count as a projectile, it just requires an activation and it pushes in. So that was a good game. I think we were both 3-0 on this or 2-0 on this round, and we'll move on to the 4th and final round of this tournament.